On Kiri Station, fear was taught like mathematics. Young Vyari children did not learn songs first. They learned graphs. Sharp red lines climbing into the sky. War spikes. Casualty numbers. Civilizations erased in short bursts of human rage. They were shown simulations of cities burning under orbital fire. They were told stories of humans who fought even when logic said surrender. Humans endure pain, their teachers would say. Humans bond under threat. Humans retaliate beyond reason. And at the bottom of every lesson was one final note. Mercy, not measurable. Lyra Vang memorized those lessons before she memorized poetry. Now she stood in Translation Bay 3 of Kiri Station, and a damaged human ship was drifting toward them. Everything she had been taught was about to be tested. 2. The arrival. The human ship looked tired. Its hull was scarred. Burn marks traced along its sides. One engine sputtered weakly, like it refused to die out of stubbornness alone. Security drones adjusted position. Defense grids warmed quietly. The station AI spoke in its calm, emotionless voice. Unidentified human vessel requesting docking assistance. Aggression probability, 71%. Lyra's braid beads glowed faintly blue, an involuntary sign of stress. The human's face appeared on screen. He was not what the stories described. No armor. No glowing red eyes. No dramatic scar across his face. Just a man in a stained suit, hair messy, jaw cut and bruised. He looked tired. Kiri Station, he said. His voice was rough but steady. We request medical help. 4 critical. 2 pretending to be critical. And water. There was a pause. Lyra spoke carefully. State cargo and confirm no active weapons discharge. The human blinked slowly. Cargo is spare parts, broken tools, and bad decisions. Weapons are powered down. We're not here to fight. Security shifted nervously. Humans saying we're not here to fight often meant they were. Lyra leaned forward. Purpose of arrival. He answered immediately. Survival. No threat. No pride. Just truth. 3. The first crack in fear. The scans began. Blue light crawled over the human hull. No active weapons. No biological threats. Small contraband detected. Fermented plant liquid. Security stiffened. The human sighed when informed. That's not contraband, he said seriously. That's morale. Some of his crew laughed weakly behind him. Lyra did not translate the joke exactly. She translated the tone. The human then said something unexpected. Send water to my crew first. Lyra froze. The lessons did not cover this. Why would a human prioritize others first? Security whispered, manipulation. But when Lyra looked at the man's face, she did not see strategy. She saw exhaustion. And something else. Responsibility. 4. The accident. The station trembled. At first it was subtle, a vibration in the floor. Then alarms began. Coolant leak in Ring C, containment malfunction. Doors locking. The screen shifted. Technicians were trapped inside a freezing corridor. Coolant mist filled the space. Frost formed across their masks. One collapsed. Security scrambled. Override commands failed. The system had quarantined the quarantine. Lyra's pulse raced. On the human side, silence fell. The human leader leaned toward his MIC. We can help. Negative, security barked. Remain contained. He looked directly at the camera. Your people are freezing. Security hesitated. The defense field flickered. Containment integrity dropped to 92%. The human stepped closer to the personnel lock. Lyra's supervisor whispered sharply in her ear, "Do not authorize." But Lyra saw the technicians. One was no longer moving. She made a decision. Engineering, she said clearly, open the personnel transfer lock. Seal the human through. A long silence. Then, if this kills us, I blame you. Accepted, Lyra replied. The lock opened. 5. Into the cold. The human sealed his helmet, hooked a tether to his belt. He looked up at the camera. "If your hair glows because this is a bad idea," he said lightly, "I'd like it noted that I also glow internally." His crew groaned. Then the hatch opened. Cold mist swallowed him. The corridor was chaos. Electric arcs snapped across exposed panels. Frost covered the floor. The human planted his boots and pushed against the jammed hatch. It did not move. He pushed again. Nothing. He leaned his shoulder into it. Metal screamed. Inside, one technician pressed a frozen hand to the window, staring at the human like he expected death. Instead, the hatch snapped free. The human dragged the first technician out. Then the second. Then the third. He positioned himself between the electrical arc and the aliens. A spark hit his shoulder. He flinched, but did not step away. "Boss," one of his crew muttered over comms, "you're going to get killed." "Not today," he replied. "I have paperwork." Even now. Humor. But he did not slow. All technicians were pulled free. The door sealed. The alarms lowered. 6. The Council. The rescue should have ended suspicion. It did not. The Security Council called Lyra to an assessment chamber. Above them floated the human species profile, red probability lines, war data, violent projections. The counselor spoke. "Interpret his motive." Lyra answered carefully. "He prevented deaths." "Manipulation," another counselor said. "Humans use altruism strategically." Lyra felt her braid glow. "He risked his life when remaining contained was safer," she said. "Performance." He asked for water for his crew first. Conditioning. They would not allow a different answer. Finally, one counselor said coldly, "Mercy is not measurable." Lyra surprised herself with her response. "Then our measurements are incomplete." Silence filled the chamber. 7. The second incident. Alarms rang again. Ring B this time. Civilian sector. Families. Children. The defense lattice began targeting the human ship. The threat engine declared, "Human breach event probable." Lyra's heart dropped. This was wrong. She accessed raw system logs instead of summaries. And she saw it. Manual command injection. Someone had forced the malfunction. An internal security faction. They wanted proof humans were dangerous. They were manufacturing it. "Defense lattice halt target lock," Lyra ordered. "Authorization required," AI replied. "Cross-check injection signature," she demanded. "Command formatting anomaly." The system paused. Meanwhile, in Ring B, civilians were freezing. And once again, the human personnel lock opened. 8. Round 2. The human leader stepped into the corridor again. No hesitation. 2 crew followed with thermal blankets. Security aimed weapons. No one fired. He reached the civilian hatch. "Round 2 with the galaxy's grumpiest door," he muttered. He forced it open. First he pushed breathers inside. Then he pulled civilians out one by one. A small child was lifted carefully into human arms. "You're safe," one crew member whispered. "But don't tell anyone I said that." The defense system halted midlock. "Anomalous command confirmed," AI announced. The Council's secret manipulation was exposed. The human ship was cleared. The station guns powered down. 9. Aftermath. The Council chamber was silent. Not with pride. With embarrassment. Lyra stood before them. "Our system measures what breaks," she said calmly. "So we built our beliefs around broken things. Humans can destroy, yes, but they can also choose not to." One counselor whispered, "Mercy is weakness." Lyra shook her head. "Mercy is choice." She stepped to the console and manually updated the human risk profile. The new line read, "Species capable of restraint." The red lattice shifted slightly. Not erased. Just widened. 10. The conversation. Lyra returned to the quarantine chamber. The human leader sat calmly, med patch on his wrist. He looked up. "So," he asked carefully, "are we still the scary story? She met his eyes. You are, she said honestly. He sighed. Great. What did we do now? You made the galaxy question its certainty, she replied. That is terrifying. He laughed softly. Yeah. We're good at administrative crises. She placed her hand against the barrier. I was raised to trust predictions, she said. Now I understand predictions are only history pretending to be destiny. He placed his hand opposite hers. And mercy? He asked. She looked at her glowing braid. Mercy is not an error, she said. It is proof that we are more than our past. A notification appeared on her console. Humanitarian docking granted. Refugee escort recognized. The human ship was no longer classified as a threat. It was classified as an ally. The warships did not announce themselves. They simply appeared. One moment, Earth's orbit shimmered with ordinary satellite traffic. The next, space bent inward like a wound being forced open, and from that tear emerged 12 obsidian vessels, shaped like elongated crowns. The sky over Nairobi darkened first. People thought it was a storm. It wasn't. Inside the United Earth Defense Council chamber, alarm screamed as holographic projections flared red. Admiral Hassan swallowed hard. They're not broadcasting hostility, his technician whispered. They're broadcasting authority. At the center of it all stood Commander Amora Okoye. 6 feet tall. Dark skin luminous beneath the chamber lights. Braided hair pulled into a crown at the back of her head. Her uniform bore no unnecessary medals. She had outgrown the need for them. She studied the incoming ships with a calm that unnerved even seasoned generals. They're not here to conquer, she said quietly. How can you be sure? Hassan demanded. Amora didn't answer. Because she already knew. 3 days earlier, the alien child had arrived. Not in a ship. Not in a pod. But inside a human escape shuttle that had crash-landed in the Sahara. The shuttle had carried only one survivor, a girl no older than 6. Her skin shimmered faintly violet under sunlight. Silver markings traced delicate patterns along her temples. And her eyes. Her eyes were human brown. Amora had been the one to pull her from the wreckage. The child had not cried. She had simply stared at Amora and whispered in perfect English. You smell like home. The girl's name was Lyra. And from the moment Amora touched her, something ancient stirred in her blood. Back in orbit, the largest of the alien vessels moved forward. A beam of white light descended into the Atlantic Ocean, and from that column rose a platform of living metal. Standing atop it was a woman. Tall. Regal. Skin like polished onyx streaked with starlight veins. A crown of floating crystalline shards circled her head like silent moons. Her presence pressed against Earth's gravity itself. Every global broadcast screen activated simultaneously. The woman spoke, and her voice carried across every language barrier. I am Queen Eleri of the Sovereign Dominion. She paused. I am here to take my daughter. Silence gripped the planet. In the council chamber, all eyes turned to Amora. Because Lyra was in the next room. Drawing with crayons. Amora stepped forward. Prepare my transport, she said. Hassan grabbed her arm. You cannot possibly mean to meet her alone. Amora looked at him. And for a second, he remembered the battlefield of Europa Station. Remembered her walking through plasma fire to pull survivors from collapsing hulls. I won't be alone, she said softly. The platform in the Atlantic shimmered as Amora's shuttle descended. She stepped out alone. Wind whipped across the ocean's surface, but the space around Queen Eleri was utterly still. The two women stood across from each other, Earth and Empire embodied. Queen Eleri's gaze narrowed slightly. You are not her assigned guardian. I wasn't assigned, Amora replied. I chose. A flicker of something unreadable passed across the Queen's face. Where is my daughter? Safe. That is not an answer. It is the only one that matters. The ocean beneath them rippled with suppressed energy. You harbor what is not yours, Eleri said. Amora met her gaze evenly. She crash-landed on my planet. Bleeding. Alone. That makes her mine to protect. Gasps echoed across global broadcasts. No human had ever spoken to an interstellar monarch like that. But Illyri did not strike her down. Instead, she studied Amora more closely. "You are not afraid." Amora allowed herself the faintest smile. "I've faced extinction events. You're just a mother." The Queen's crystalline crown pulsed. And for the first time, something human cracked through her regal composure. "Then you understand." Inside the shuttle hovering above, Lyra watched through the viewport. Her small hand pressed against the glass. "Mama," she whispered. "But which one did she mean?" "You initiated a war breach entering our system," Amora continued. "Earth's fleets are mobilized." Illyri's eyes flashed silver. "Your fleets would last 11 minutes. "Probably," Amora admitted. "But 11 minutes is long enough to make you regret it." A long pause stretched between them. Finally, Illyri asked, "Does she remember?" Amora's voice softened. "Fragments. Nightmares. She wakes up calling for stars that burned out centuries ago." Pain flickered across the Queen's face. She was not meant to survive. Amora stiffened. "Explain." Illyri turned toward the horizon, where her ships hovered like silent gods. "There was a coup. My own High Council. They deemed Lyra dangerous." "Dangerous how?" "She carries dual inheritance. My bloodline, and her father's." "And her father was?" Illyri's gaze locked onto Amora's. "Human." The world stopped breathing. Amora felt the words hit like a physical force. "That's impossible." "Is it?" Illyri stepped closer. 3 decades ago, one of your exploratory vessels vanished near the Cygnus Rift. Amora's heart pounded. The Odyssey, commanded by Captain Elias Okoye. Her father, declared lost in deep space. "He survived," Illyri said quietly. "He saved my life during an assassination attempt. We forged an alliance that became something more." Amora's voice trembled for the first time in years. "You're lying." "I do not lie." The Queen extended her hand. A projection shimmered into existence. A human man appeared, older, battle-worn, unmistakable. Smiling. Behind him stood Illyri, without her crown. Without armor. Looking at him the way only love allows. Amora's breath left her lungs. "That's your father," Illyri confirmed. Inside the shuttle, Lyra suddenly gasped. Her eyes flared bright white. The ocean around the platform began to rise. Not with wind. With power. "She's reacting," Illyri warned. Amora turned toward the shuttle. Lyra's voice echoed across open comms. "Stop fighting." The ocean froze midwave. Suspended. Defying physics. The alien fleet's energy signatures spiked in alarm. Illyri whispered, "She's manifesting too early." Amora moved without hesitation, sprinting toward the shuttle as gravity distorted around her. "Lyra," she shouted. The child phased through the hull, hovering above the platform, eyes blazing starlight. "You're both loud," Lyra said, voice layered with something ancient. The suspended ocean began crystallizing into luminous structures. "If you fight," Lyra continued, "the sky breaks." Every satellite feed flickered. Space itself shimmered like fragile glass. Amora reached her first. She didn't shout. Didn't command. She simply wrapped her arms around the glowing child. "It's okay," she whispered. The power faltered. Illyri approached slowly. "Lyra, my star." The child looked between them. Confused. Afraid. "Why do I feel both of you?" she asked. Illyri knelt, a queen kneeling before the world. "Because you belong to 2 galaxies." Amora tightened her hold slightly. "And because we both love you." The ocean crashed back down. Gravity stabilized. The sky healed. Silence fell over Earth. Over the fleet. Over history itself. Illyri rose. "If my council discovers she lives, they will come with annihilation." Amora's jaw hardened. "Then let them." "You would wage war against an empire that spans 1,000 systems." Amora stepped forward. I would burn every one of them before I let them touch her. The queen searched her face. And for the first time, she saw it clearly. Not defiance. Not arrogance. But kinship. You are his daughter, Ilari murmured. Amora's voice softened. Where is he? A pause. Then. He died protecting Lyra's escape. The words struck like a blade. But Amora did not break. She simply nodded once. Then we finish what he started. Hours later, inside the United Council chamber, Queen Ilari stood among humanity's leaders. No throne. No platform. Just a mother. My council will brand me traitor, she said. They will hunt us both. Us. Hassan echoed nervously. Ilari looked at Amora. If you accept. Amora didn't hesitate. We build something new. An alliance? A diplomat asked. Amora shook her head. Family. Lyra, sitting between them, smiled faintly. Outside, the alien fleet repositioned, not as invaders. As guardians. And across the galaxy, whispers began. The human queen. The starborn child. And the empire that dared threaten them. Far beyond Earth sensors, in the cold expanse of deep space, the Dominion High Council watched. An elder voice rasped. The child lives. Another answered. Then we erase the bloodline. And 1,000 warships ignited their engines. On Earth, Amora stood beside Ilari on a balcony overlooking the sunrise. You could stay, Amora said quietly. I am still queen, Ilari replied. And I am still a soldier. They shared a look of understanding. Teach her both worlds, Ilari said. I will. A faint smile touched the queen's lips. She has your stubbornness. Amora allowed herself a small laugh. And your power. Below them, Lyra chased pigeons across the courtyard, giggling like any other child. But the air shimmered faintly around her. The calm before something vast. Ilari turned to leave, ascending toward the waiting platform. Before she stepped into the light, she looked back. If they come, she said, voice carrying the weight of galaxies, do not ask for mercy. Amora met her gaze. I never do. The beam swallowed the queen. The ships vanished. But the stars above seemed closer now. Watching. Waiting. Amora placed a hand over her father's old dog tags around her neck. Let them come, she whispered. Beside her, Lyra looked up at the sky, eyes reflecting constellations not yet mapped. And somewhere in the dark between galaxies, war began moving toward Earth.